got up early this morning. Thank you so much, and have crawled down in this beautiful vessel. We're going to have a morning talk with Andreas Klok Pedersen at sea level, and since we are so intimately around the tables here, we hope you'll join in at a certain point when you have gotten the idea about what this is about. Design, art and architecture and urban planning, they have their impact on everyday life and human behavior. And these are the themes that these morning talks, this is the first of 5 morning talks that we have during this Danish Design Week. And these are the themes that we will evolve around. And the ambition of the curators is to redesign and rethink Copenhagen. So there's a big opportunity here to talk about that, and for that reason I'll make my introduction fairly short. But Andreas Klok Pedersen is design director, is that right, at the BIG Group, and also teaches at the Royal Danish Academy of Fine Arts, Design and Architecture. And I think that BIG is probably the Danish drawing office that is most determined to redesign Copenhagen, and I think preferably the whole world. So I think I'll start out by asking you, Andreas, to talk about a buzzword you have that is called hedonistic sustainability. What is that?
I mean, I think that would hopefully be a little more clear when I've showed some of the projects I've brought today. It is like simply the idea that when we work with sustainability, we have been like traditionally, like there has been like sustainability and sustainable design has traditionally been a lot about how we can change our lifestyle to a more sustainable one, how we can basically not spend as much energy and save on the resources and take shorter showers and maybe don't drive car to work. And basically most of the things are kind of things that will not directly improve our life, but more seems like some kind of degrade or some kind of resort to a kind of old-fashioned kind of life. And we've been quite interested in ways that sustainability can be designed so it actually improves the quality of life, and you get kind of an added value. And we actually believe that sustainability will only succeed, and sustainable design will only succeed if it has like clear improvements of the quality of life for the people who are using the design. And that's I mean, I'm going to show a couple of examples, but in some of the most kind of radical examples, we're kind of calling it hedonistic sustainability, because it's almost like creating a whole new set of possibilities that were never possible before in a kind of traditional way of designing. So that's kind of our belief that in a sustainable world you should be able to live as Romans and kind of actually improve the quality of life.
When you say live as Romans, what exactly do you mean? The ancient ones?
Yeah, exactly. Like the hedonism is, you know, you can imagine the hedonistic lifestyle of the ancient Romans, which is all about like sitting outdoor in a hot bath and eating plenty of food and being wasteful about everything. And in that sense, we sincerely believe that sustainability should be about that. And in that sense, we're also learning from the kind of ecosystems you find in the nature and in biology, which is about everything but saving on resources. Like nature is very wasteful, and because there is no waste, and that's something we can learn about in design. We can learn from in design.
Okay, let's see some examples of this.
Yes, I mean, I'm not sure where I stand best. Maybe not to hide the screen.
Can you see something?
You already got a short introduction. We're Copenhagen based, but we actually recently opened a New York office, and we are 100 people in Copenhagen and 25 in New York, and we are people from all over the world hired in the office. So it's a quite international place. And for this small presentation, I have like since it's a Copenhagen Design Week, I've tried to organize a small series of 6 projects actually according to shape, to show that how we work with the idea of sustainability in different scales, everything from furniture and urban design to large-scale urban planning. And it's not only about sustainability of in terms of energy, but also kind of social sustainability, cultural sustainability. So with this small series of 6 projects that all have the shape of small loops, I'll try to kind of get a broad overview. And then there's one extra one that didn't really fit in the in the system, but I brought it anyway. So maybe the most like kind of almost the project where we invented the term hedonistic sustainability is the expo pavilion that we designed for the expo in Shanghai last year, the Danish pavilion. It opened 2010. And in this project, we worked with the idea of like what could a small country like Denmark show to this like mega superpower of China? What could we possibly learn China about urbanism? And we figured out one thing we really have in common, in like from Denmark to China, is the bicycle culture. In China, the bicycle culture has been completely replaced by a car culture in the big cities, so much that the bicycles are kind of not even allowed to go in the centers. But in Copenhagen, the bicycle is still like the most important form of urban transport and one that we all kind of enjoy to use. So we thought in this pavilion we almost tried to kind of reintroduce the idea of the bicycle to China as an urban form of sustainable mobility. So we designed the entire exhibition pavilion as a bicycle central, where you could simply go to the roof of the pavilion, get one of these free urban bicycles that we know from Copenhagen, and bicycle down through the exhibition itself. Harbour Bath, which is basically a sample of the Copenhagen Harbour Bath that we brought to China. The idea that the water is now so clean in the harbour of Copenhagen that you can take a swim. We simply
you also made the Harbour Bath.
Exactly, it's an old project of ours, one of the first ones that we ever built in Denmark. So we simply exported this idea of a clean bath in the middle of the pavilion, where you could actually take a swim on a hot summer day in China. The Harbour Bath is at the same time the daylight down to the conference area in the basement of the building. From here you can see like the people swimming in the bath through the glass. And you can also get a view up to this little statue, the Little Mermaid. We wanted to create like this pavilion as a really authentic experience of things you experience in Copenhagen. So it would not be only writing and showing pictures about Copenhagen, but actually giving people the experience of sustainable lifestyle. So in order to make this small piece of harbor authentic, we decided to ask for permission to move the Little Mermaid, the real statue, not a copy, to China. And we got the permission to actually move her. This is in April last year.
This all seems very merry. There was a big, huge scandal about this don't think it was easy to move the Little Mermaid.
It was Bjarke, the founder of Big, he got speaking time in the national parliament in order to convince the broad spectrum of political parties that this was a good idea. But we actually believe it was a very important gesture for the pavilion, because Hans Christian Andersen has a very important role in China, and every Chinese person has read the fairy tale of the Little Mermaid in school. So everyone knows this statue. Here she arrives at the Chinese customs. And of course in Copenhagen we would have a little bit of issue about what to do with the rock where she used to sit. But we got a deal with the Chinese artist Ai Weiwei, who's he's a world famous artist, but he's also very controversial in his home country. He designed this surveillance camera which would transmit live what would be going on in the pavilion to this spot in Copenhagen. And I mean, this is a nice kind of gesture because people who go here could actually visit the mermaid, although she was on the other side of the planet. But I think his idea was actually that this small surveillance camera that he put up was exactly the same model that the authorities has put up in front of his front door at home in China, because he's like they're really monitoring everything he does, and recently he was jailed because of his art. And just when we were launching this idea of the Loop City, we actually got invited to look at one of the main energy facilities of Copenhagen. This is the Amagerforbrændingen, which is a waste-to-energy plant that sits very close to where we're sitting now. Now we are sitting here. And just 500 meters away is this big waste-to-energy plant that simply burns all the garbage we throw in the trash can and turns it into carbon-neutral energy and heat for the entire city. So it's a quite attractive piece of industry. And this is the director, Ulla Rødtger, from the plant. And she had this vision to make an architectural competition about the plant and turn it into something that would be attractive for the city in the same way as the Sydney Opera, or something that people would actually visit and that would improve the recreational qualities of the area. And this is how it looks today, kind of typical industrial area. But the cool thing about this place is that around that side there's a lot of nice kind of attractions, like the go-kart fields or this cable track where you can waveboard along the harbor, or like typical marinas. So it's already kind of somehow a recreational area. And if you look at the size of the new plant that we're going to design, it would be one of the biggest and tallest buildings in Copenhagen, like much bigger than the town hall and parliament. So this is the shape that the new kind of industrial facility had. And we started with the idea to wrap it in a new kind of shape, simply, and including the chimney would turn it into something that looks more like a building than an industry. Finally, including the office facilities. And by giving it this cut, we could create this accessible roof that would be this almost big mountain-shaped volume that could potentially lead to all the recreational areas next to the building. So we thought, like, what could we use this big roof for? And it's quite interesting. In Denmark, we have very cold winters. We have sometimes ice, and we have a lot of snow. But it's completely flat, the country, and we have no mountains at all. And if people want to go skiing, they go to small hills in Copenhagen and drive 5 hours, or like in Sweden, and drive 5 hours away. But we do have mountains of trash. So we had this simple idea to simply take a skiing area the size of those that you would go to in Sweden and place on top of this volume, and we could get a real skiing area with 3 hills, a black and a blue and a green, that are actually 500 meter long. So we have 500 meters of skiing and a height difference of 100 meter. An elevator at the corner that would bring you up. And then we are putting this this artificial surface, which is made from recycled material, on the surface, so you could even ski in the summer. And in the winter, when the snow falls, it would turn into a natural skiing mountain with the real snow. So you could simply be in the center of Copenhagen with this fantastic panoramic view. And
well, I think this is about it. I think that people should go to Ørestaden if you have the time. You can go there on bike or with the metro. And there's a cafe in the 8 House. And now that the sun is shining, I've been sitting there sometimes, and it's really beautiful. You have this very modern house, and then you have this amazing landscape. And think about what Andreas has shown you today, and discuss it. And I want to thank you so much for coming. And thank you for coming. Thank you.